line item screaming truths I'd spent 10 years refusing to see. Brandon shifted in his seat, his eyes darting from the paper to my face and back again, searching for the woman who would explain it away, make excuses, understand why he needed to spend $3,000 at a jewelry store I'd never seen a piece from. "Simone, baby, let me explain," he started, reaching for my hand. I pulled back, my fingers curling into my palm. The statement wasn't the worst of it. That honor belonged to the folder I'd found in his gym bag that morning, stuffed with apartment listings in a part of town I'd never heard him mention, printed emails about wedding venue cancellations for dates we'd never discussed, and photos. So many photos. Brandon with a woman I'd never met, her hand on his chest, his arm around her waist, both of them smiling like they had a secret the whole world was too stupid to discover. How long? My voice came out steady, which surprised me. Inside, everything was breaking apart, 10 years of my life crumbling like wet paper. How long what? He was going to play stupid. Of course he was. I stood up, walked to my bedroom, and returned with the folder. I dropped it on top of the credit card statement. "How long have you been planning to leave me for, Tiffany?" The color drained from his face. His mouth opened and closed twice before any sound came out. "You went through my stuff?" "Your stuff?" "Your stuff that I paid for, in the gym bag I bought you, in the apartment I pay rent for?" My laugh sounded foreign to my own ears. "Answer the question, Brandon." He ran his hand over his face, a gesture I'd seen 1,000 times when he was trying to figure out which version of the truth would work best. "It's not what you think." "Then tell me what it is. Tell me why you're looking at apartments with another woman. Tell me why you bought her a $3,000 necklace with my credit card. Tell me why you canceled venue visits for our wedding while telling me you were too busy with work to plan anything." "I was going to tell you." His voice dropped to that soft, pleading tone he used when he wanted something. "After the wedding." The words didn't make sense at first. I sat down slowly, trying to process what he just said. "After our wedding? You were planning to marry me and then leave me?" "The insurance, Simone. Your health insurance at the hospital is incredible. If we got married, I'd be covered for a year even after the divorce. And the tax benefits we could file jointly for this year, get that return, and then split it after." I stared at him. This man I'd supported through community college. This man whose car payments I'd made when he was between jobs. This man whose mother's medical bills I'd helped pay. This man was sitting in my living room in the apartment I rented on the furniture I bought, telling me he planned to commit marriage fraud. "Get out. Baby, please just listen. Get out." I stood again, my hands shaking now that the shock was wearing off and the rage was settling in. "Get out of my apartment right now. Simone, you're overreacting. We can talk about this like adults." "Adults? You want to talk about being adults?" I walked to the kitchen and grabbed the stack of bills from the counter. I'd been organizing them that morning, trying to figure out why my savings account was so much lower than it should be. Now I knew. Let's talk about the adult who's been paying your car insurance for 3 years. The adult who paid off your credit card debt twice. The adult who gave you a supplementary credit card that you've been using to wine and dine another woman. I threw the bills at him. They scattered across the coffee table and floor, a paper trail of my own stupidity. "I never asked you to do any of that," he said, but his voice was weak. "You're right. You never asked. You just took. You just smiled and kissed me and told me you loved me and told me we'd get married soon, real soon, just as soon as you got the promotion, just as soon as you saved a little more, just as soon as the timing was right. 10 years of soon, Brandon. I do love you." "No." I shook my head. "You love my paycheck. You love my benefits. You love having a place to stay and someone to take care of you. But you don't love me. If you loved me, you wouldn't have spent the last however many months planning to use me one last time before moving on to whatever Tiffany can give you. She doesn't mean anything. I don't care." And I realized, saying it out loud, that it was true. I didn't care about Tiffany. I didn't care about what she had that I didn't. I didn't care about their relationship. I only cared about the years I'd wasted, the money I'd spent, the dreams I'd put on hold because Brandon always needed something. "I need some time to find a place," he said, switching tactics. "You can't just throw me out on the street. Watch me." I grabbed my phone from my pocket. "You have 2 hours to pack your things and leave. Whatever you don't take, I'm donating. The locks get changed tomorrow." "Simone, be reasonable." "I'm being very reasonable. I could call the police right now and have you removed for using my credit card without permission. I could file a report about your fraud scheme. But I'm giving you 2 hours to leave quietly." He stood up, his face shifting from pleading to angry. "You think you're better than me? You think you're so perfect? I stayed with you out of kindness. Do you know how many men would put up with a woman who works all the time, who's always tired, who never wants to do anything fun? There it was. The real Brandon, the one who'd been hiding behind the sweet words and empty promises. And yet you were planning to marry me anyway, I said softly. For the insurance. For the tax break. Funny how my terrible qualities didn't matter when you needed something. He grabbed his jacket from the back of the couch. I'll come back tomorrow for my stuff. No, you won't. 2 hours. Starting now. I looked at my phone. It's 4 o'clock. You have until 6. This is crazy. You're being crazy. I'm being smart. For the first time in 10 years, I'm being smart. I walked to the door and opened it. The clock's ticking. He stared at me for a long moment, probably waiting for me to break down, to cry, to beg him to stay and work it out. When I just stood there holding the door, he finally moved. He walked past me without another word, pulling out his phone as he headed down the hallway. I closed the door and locked it. Then I slid down to the floor, my back against the wood, and let myself feel everything. Not sadness, not yet. That would come later. Right now, I felt angry. Furious. 10 years. I'd given this man 10 years of my life, and he'd been planning to scam me out of one more. My phone buzzed. A text from Brandon. You'll regret this. You need me more than I need you. I blocked his number. Then I called my brother Andre. Hey sis, what's up? Can you come over? And bring some boxes? I need help getting someone's stuff out of my apartment. Brandon's stuff. Andre had never liked Brandon, had told me repeatedly that the man was using me. I hadn't listened. Yeah. I'll be there in 20 minutes. You okay? No. But I will be. I hung up and looked around my apartment. My apartment that I'd paid for every month for 8 years. My furniture that I'd saved up for and carefully chosen. My life that I'd been sharing with someone who saw me as nothing more than a meal ticket. The credit card statement was still on the coffee table. I picked it up and looked at the charges again. Restaurants I'd never been to. Clothes from stores I couldn't afford to shop at for myself. Hotels. Concert tickets. All the things Brandon had been doing with Tiffany while telling me he was too broke to take me out for my birthday. My phone buzzed again. A different number this time. This is Tiffany. We need to talk about Brandon. I stared at the message. Part of me wanted to know what she had to say, wanted to understand what kind of woman helps a man betray someone else. But I knew that conversation would lead nowhere good. I'd end up angry or hurt or somehow feeling guilty for ruining their plans. I deleted the message and blocked that number too. Andre arrived with boxes and our cousin Jerome, both of them looking ready for a fight. When I explained what happened, showed them the evidence, they got to work without questions. Brandon's clothes went into boxes. His shoes, his toiletries, his gaming system, his collection of watches I'd bought him for various anniversaries. All of it packed up and stacked by the door. Brandon showed up at 5:45, 15 minutes before his deadline. He had Tiffany with him. She was shorter than me, Kavya, with hair that had definitely cost money to maintain. She wore a tight red dress and heels that made her tower over her natural height. She looked me up and down with obvious disdain. You must be Simone, she said, like my name tasted bad in her mouth. And you must be leaving, I replied. Brandon, your stuff is by the door. Take it and go. We need to discuss the financial situation, Brandon said, trying to sound official and grown up. I'm entitled to compensation for the years I spent building a life with you. Andre laughed out loud. Compensation? For what? Spending her money? I contributed to this relationship, Brandon said, his jaw tight. Name one thing you paid for, Jerome challenged. One bill. One piece of furniture. One grocery run. Brandon's face went red. It's not about money. I gave her emotional support, companionship. While planning to leave her for insurance benefits, I finished. Take your stuff and go, Brandon. If you're not out of this building in 10 minutes, I'm calling the police. You're going to regret this, Tiffany said, stepping forward. Brandon is a good man. You obviously didn't appreciate him. Then you should be happy to have him, I said. And his debt. And his mother's medical bills. And his car payments. I hope you make good money, Tiffany, because Brandon is expensive. Her face changed. Just a flicker, but I caught it. She didn't know about all of that. Brandon hadn't told her how much it cost to keep him afloat. Get your boxes and get out, Andre said, his voice low and dangerous. Now. Brandon grabbed 2 boxes. Tiffany stood there, looking between us, her confidence wavering. Finally, she grabbed a box too, stumbling a little in her heels. It took them 3 trips to get everything out. On the last trip, Brandon paused at the door. I really did love you, Simone. No, I said quietly. You really didn't. But that's okay. I'm going to love myself enough for both of us now. He left. The door closed. Andre changed the locks while Jerome ordered pizza. We sat in my apartment, my newly Brandon-free apartment, and ate in comfortable silence. You did the right thing, Andre finally said. I know. And I did. It hurt, and it would probably hurt worse tomorrow and the day after that, but I knew I'd done the right thing. 10 years was long enough to invest in someone who'd been planning to cash me out all along. My phone, which I'd left on the counter, buzzed with another message. I ignored it. Whoever it was could wait. Right now, I was going to sit with my brother and cousin and eat pizza and start figuring out who Simone was without Brandon taking up all the space in her life. The morning after I kicked Brandon out, I woke up to silence. Not the comfortable silence of a peaceful home, but the hollow quiet that comes when you realize something you'd built your whole routine around is suddenly gone. No sounds of Brandon in the shower. No smell of the coffee he'd make while using the last of the milk and forgetting to add it to the grocery list. No notifications on my phone asking me to pick something up on my way home from work. Just silence. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, and let myself remember. Not the good times, because thinking about those would make me doubt myself. I needed to remember the truth. The real story of the last 10 years. We'd met at a community center where I volunteered on weekends. I was 25, working as a nursing assistant at the hospital, taking night classes to become a registered nurse. Brandon was 27, charming and funny, with big dreams about starting his own business. He talked about his plans with such confidence that I believed every word. Our first date was at a diner. I paid. He'd forgotten his wallet in his other pants. I didn't mind. I made good money for my age, lived with roommates to save on rent, and wasn't bothered by covering a $20 meal. The second date, I paid again. And the third. By the fourth, I started to notice a pattern, but Brandon always had an explanation. He was between jobs. His last paycheck had gone to help his mother. His car needed repairs. There was always something, and I always understood because that's what people who care about each other do. They help. 6 months in, he moved into my apartment. My roommate had just moved out to live with her boyfriend, and Brandon's lease was ending. It made sense. We were serious about each other. Why waste money on two places when we could save by sharing one? Except we didn't save. My half of the rent stayed the same, and I started paying for all the groceries because Brandon's job search was taking longer than expected. I paid for utilities because he needed to conserve his savings for when he found work. I paid for dates because he felt bad about being broke and I didn't want him to feel worse. 3 months later, he got a job at a call center. Minimum wage, not what he wanted, but something. I was proud of him for taking it despite it being beneath his potential. He promised things would get better. They didn't. The call center job lasted 4 months before he quit. His manager was disrespectful, he said. The hours were terrible. The customers were abusive. I told him to do what was best for his mental health. He'd find something better. Then came the business ideas. First, it was a clothing line. He needed startup money for inventory. I gave him $2,000 from my savings. The clothes sat in our closet for months before he admitted the market was too saturated. Then it was a food truck. He needed money for a down payment on the truck. I gave him $3,000. The truck deal fell through, and he spent the money on a course about business management instead. That course led to another business idea that needed another investment. I kept giving because I believed in him. Because I loved him. Because he promised that once his business took off, he'd pay me back double and take care of me the way I'd been taking care of him. Meanwhile, I was working double shifts at the hospital, going to nursing school, and handling every single expense in our life together. His car insurance. His phone bill. His mother's medications when she couldn't afford them. His credit card debt from before we met. I paid it all and told myself it was temporary. Year 3, I became a registered nurse. My salary nearly doubled. Brandon was so proud of me. He took me out to dinner to celebrate. I paid, of course, but he'd made the reservation, and that counted for something, right? With my new salary, I moved us into a nicer apartment. 1 bedroom instead of a studio. A building with a gym and a parking spot. Brandon loved it. He started working out every day, taking full advantage of the gym I was paying membership fees for. Year 4, I brought up marriage. We'd been together long enough. We loved each other. Why not make it official? Brandon agreed but said we should wait. He wanted to be in a better financial position. He didn't want me to have to pay for our wedding. It was sweet, considerate even. I told him I didn't mind waiting. Year 5, his mother got sick. Really sick. The medical bills were crushing her. Brandon was her only child. How could we not help? I gave him $5,000 to cover her treatment. then another $3,000 for follow-up care, then monthly contributions to her medication costs. His mother was kind to me, always thanking me, always telling Brandon how lucky he was. I didn't mind helping her. Year 6, I paid off his car. The payments were killing him, he said, and he needed reliable transportation to look for better jobs. $10,000 cleared in one payment. He cried and told me I was the best thing that ever happened to him. Year 7, I brought up marriage again. He said soon. Real soon. He just wanted to get his life together first. Wanted to be able to contribute equally. I respected that. I could wait a little longer. Year 8, a new business idea. This one was going to work, he promised. He just needed $15,000 for equipment and licensing. I gave him $12,000, all I had left in my savings after helping with his mother and the car and the daily expenses of supporting both of us. The business lasted 6 months before he shut it down. Wrong timing, he said. The market wasn't ready. Year 9, I got a promotion at the hospital. Nurse supervisor. Better pay, better hours, better benefits. Brandon suggested we upgrade our apartment again. Move into a building with better amenities. I wasn't sure we could afford it, but he insisted we deserved it. We moved into the place where I still lived, the place I'd kicked him out of yesterday. Higher rent, higher utilities, but Brandon seemed happier. Year 10 started with me bringing up marriage again. 10 years was long enough, wasn't it? He agreed. He got down on one knee with a ring I later learned he'd bought with my credit card. I said yes because I loved him and because I'd invested 10 years of my life in this man. We set a date. Started planning. He suggested I handle most of it since I was so good at organizing things. I didn't mind. I'd been handling everything else. Lying in my bed now, thinking about all of it, I felt stupid. How had I not seen it? How had I convinced myself that a man who contributed nothing, who paid for nothing, who built nothing, was somehow my partner? My phone rang. Nicole, my best friend from nursing school. I texted her last night, a simple message, kicked Brandon out. Long story. Call me tomorrow. Tell me everything, she said when I answered. I did. The credit card statement. The folder. Tiffany. The plan to marry me for benefits and then divorce me. All of it spilled out in a rush of words that left me breathless. That sorry piece of... Nicole stopped herself. Simone, I'm so sorry. But also I'm not. You know I never liked him. I know. You're too good for him. You always were. Then why did I stay? The question I'd been avoiding asking myself. Because you're loyal. Because you're kind. Because you believe in people. None of that is wrong. What's wrong is him taking advantage of it for 10 years. I gave him so much money, Nicole. So much. I could have bought a house by now. I could have traveled. I could have. Don't do that to yourself. You made choices with the information you had. You trusted someone you loved. That's not wrong. He's the one who did wrong. I know. But knowing it and feeling it are different things. Give yourself time. You just found out yesterday. You're allowed to feel however you feel. We talked for another hour. She offered to come over, but I told her I needed time alone to think. After we hung up, I got up and made myself breakfast. Eggs and toast, nothing fancy. As I ate, I started making a list of all the things I'd paid for over the years. Everything I could remember. The list filled 3 pages. Rent and utilities for 10 years, minus the few months Brandon worked at the call center and contributed $200 monthly. Car insurance, phone bills, groceries, dates, gifts, medical expenses for him and his mother, business investments, credit card debt payments, clothes, shoes, gym memberships, subscriptions to streaming services he wanted, furniture, appliances, and dozens of smaller things I couldn't quite categorize. I added it all up. The number made me sick. Over $100,000. Maybe more if I counted the things I'd forgotten or the increased costs of bigger apartments and nicer things he'd wanted. $100,000 spent on a man who'd been planning to use me one last time before leaving. I thought about Tiffany. She'd looked so confident last night, so sure of herself. Did she know what she was getting? Did Brandon tell her about his mother's medical bills, his non-existent savings, his string of failed business attempts? Or had he sold her the same dream he'd sold me, just with a different timeline? My phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. This is Brandon's mom. I heard what happened. Can we talk? I stared at the message. Brandon's mother had always been kind to me. She'd thanked me for helping with her medical bills, had told me repeatedly that I was the daughter she'd never had. But she'd also raised Brandon. She taught him whatever values made him think using people was acceptable. I didn't respond. Maybe that was cold, but I didn't have the energy to manage anyone else's feelings about my decision. Instead, I opened my laptop and started going through my finances properly. Bank statements, credit card bills, investment accounts, everything. I needed to see exactly where I stood now that I was supporting only myself. The picture was better than I'd feared but worse than it should have been. My checking account was healthy thanks to my recent promotion. My savings account was nearly empty. My retirement account was okay but not where it should be for someone my age with my salary. I had no debt, which was good, but I also had no assets beyond my car and the furniture in my apartment. At 35 years old, I was starting over financially. 10 years of wealth building gone. Spent on a man who'd given me nothing in return except broken promises and a fake future. But I had my job. I had my health. I had my independence. And I had a clear view of reality now, which was worth more than any amount of money I'd wasted. I spent the rest of the day cleaning the apartment. Deep cleaning. Scrubbing every surface that Brandon had touched. Washing every dish he'd eaten from, vacuuming every corner where his presence had left marks. With each swipe of the cloth, each spray of cleaner, I felt a little lighter. A little freer. By evening, my apartment looked different. Better. It was mine again, fully mine, no longer a space I was sharing with someone who didn't appreciate it. Andre called to check on me. How you holding up? Better than I expected. Worse than I hoped. That's fair. You need anything? Not right now. But thank you for yesterday. For coming over and helping. That's what brothers are for. And Simone? I'm proud of you. I know it hurts now, but you did the right thing. I know. I just wish I'd done it sooner. You did it when you were ready. That's what matters. After we hung up, I made myself dinner. A nice dinner, not the quick meals I usually threw together after long shifts. I set the table properly, used the good dishes I'd been saving for special occasions, poured myself a glass of wine. I ate slowly, tasting each bite, enjoying the quiet. This was my life now. Just mine. No one to support but myself. No one to make excuses for. No one to believe in despite all evidence suggesting I shouldn't. It felt strange. After 10 years of organizing my life around Brandon's needs and wants and dreams, I didn't quite know what to do with all this freedom. But I'd figure it out. I had time now. Time and money and energy that I could spend on myself. My phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. Another message, "You're making a mistake. Brandon loves you. Give him another chance." I blocked the number. How many people had Brandon enlisted in his campaign to get back into my good graces? How many friends and family members were going to reach out, trying to guilt me into taking him back? It didn't matter. I'd made my decision. The locks were changed. My credit cards were canceled and reissued. Brandon's name was off every account. He was out of my life and he was staying out. I went to bed early that night, exhausted from emotions more than physical activity. As I lay in the dark, I thought about the future. Not the future I'd been planning with Brandon, the wedding and the house and the kids and the life we'd talked about so many times. That future was gone, had never been real anyway. I thought about my actual future. The one where I saved money for myself. Where I made decisions based on what I wanted, not what someone else needed. Where I built something real and solid and mine. It scared me. 10 years was a long time to be with someone. I didn't know how to be single. Didn't know how to date or meet people or trust my judgment after getting it so wrong with Brandon. But I'd learn. I'd take my time and figure it out. For now, I just needed to heal. To let go of the anger and disappointment and regret. To forgive myself for being trusting and generous and loving. To accept that none of those qualities were weaknesses, even though someone had weaponized them against me. Tomorrow, I'd wake up and go to work and start building my life again. But tonight, I'd let myself feel everything. The sadness and the relief and the anger and the hope. All of it was valid. All of it was part of moving forward. I closed my eyes and fell asleep in my quiet apartment. Alone but not lonely, hurt but not broken, ready to begin again. Monday morning arrived with the kind of clarity that only comes after burning down your old life. I woke up at 5 a.m., my usual time, but instead of the rushed routine I'd perfected over the years to make sure Brandon had everything he needed before I left for my shift, I took my time. Long shower. Careful makeup. A bright blue dress I'd bought months ago but never worn because Brandon said it made me look like I was trying too hard. I looked good. Better than I'd looked in months. I snapped a photo of myself in the mirror and sent it to Nicole with the caption, "First day of the rest of my life." She responded immediately, "Gorgeous. Brandon is an idiot. Go show the hospital what they've got." At work, I dove into my tasks with renewed focus. Patient rounds, medication management, staff coordination, the endless paperwork that came with being a supervisor. I'd always been good at my job, but over the last few years, I'd started just getting by. Too tired from managing Brandon's chaos to give my full attention to my career. Today I felt the difference. Sure. Present. Capable. During my lunch break, I sat in my car and made a list. A systematic plan for removing every trace of Brandon from my financial life. I'd started Saturday night by changing the locks and blocking his number, but there was more to do. First call, my credit card company. I need to report unauthorized use and remove an authorized user from my account. The representative was kind and efficient. I'm sorry to hear you've experienced this. Let me help you secure your account. Within 20 minutes, Brandon's access to my credit card was terminated. The card I'd given him 3 years ago, the one he'd used to buy jewelry for another woman, was now worthless plastic in his wallet. I requested a new card number for myself and set up fraud alerts. Second call, my bank. Same process. Remove Brandon as an authorized user on my checking account. Set up new account numbers. Enable two-factor authentication on all my online access. The banker asked if I wanted to file a police report about the fraudulent charges. I said I'd think about it. Third call, my car insurance. Brandon had been on my policy for 5 years because it was cheaper than him getting his own. Not anymore. I removed him and my monthly premium dropped by $60. $60 I'd been paying every month for years to insure a car I didn't drive, for a person who'd been planning to betray me. Fourth call, phone company. Brandon was on my family plan. I removed his line. Another $40 back in my pocket monthly. Fifth call, streaming services. I changed all the passwords. Brandon loved his shows. He could pay for his own subscriptions now. By the time my lunch break ended, I'd cut off every financial tie I could think of. My monthly expenses had dropped by over $300. $300 that had been going to support a grown man who refused to support himself. The rest of my shift passed quickly. I was reviewing patient charts when my supervisor, Patricia, stopped by my desk. "Simone, you look different today." "Good different." I smiled. "Thanks. I made some changes in my personal life this weekend." "The good kind of changes?" "The overdue kind." She nodded knowingly. "Those are usually the best kind. Listen, I wanted to talk to you about something. The hospital is opening a new cardiac unit next month. We need a strong nurse supervisor to help set it up. It's a promotion. Better pay, better hours, more responsibility. I think you'd be perfect for it." My heart jumped. "Really? Really? You've been doing excellent work, and I've noticed you're even sharper lately. Whatever changes you make, keep making them. Think about the position. Let me know by Friday if you're interested." "I'm interested. Definitely interested." After Patricia left, I sat at my desk trying to process the moment. A promotion. More money. More responsibility. This was what happened when I stopped pouring all my energy into someone else and started investing in myself. I finished my shift at 7 p.m. and drove home through the evening traffic, my mind already planning how I'd spend the extra money from the promotion. Savings. Retirement account. Maybe a vacation. A real vacation, not the staycations Brandon and I had taken because he never had money for a trip. When I pulled into my parking spot, I saw him. Brandon, leaning against the building near the entrance, his hands in his pockets, trying to look casual. My stomach tightened. I considered staying in my car, calling someone, but I refused to be afraid in my own home. I grabbed my bag and walked toward the entrance, not looking at him. "Simone, please, we need to talk." He fell into step beside me. "We have nothing to talk about. You need to leave." "I just need 5 minutes. 5 minutes to explain." I stopped and turned to face him. "Explain what?" "Explain how you plan to commit marriage fraud? Explain how you spent 10 years using me? Explain why you thought I'd keep supporting you after you moved on to someone else? Which part needs explaining, Brandon? It wasn't like that. I made mistakes, but I love you. I always loved you. You loved my money. And now you don't have access to it anymore, so there's nothing left for us to discuss." His expression shifted from pleading to angry. "You canceled my credit card. You kicked me off your insurance. You shut off my phone line. How am I supposed to live? The same way every other adult lives. Get a job. Pay your bills. Figure it out. After everything I gave you? After 10 years together?" I laughed. I couldn't help it. "What did you give me, Brandon? Name one thing. One single thing you contributed to our relationship besides stress and debt." "I gave you companionship. I was there for you emotionally. You were planning to leave me for insurance benefits. That's not companionship. That's fraud." I changed my mind. "The wedding is back on. We can make this work." "The wedding was never on. You were never planning to actually marry me. You were planning to use me one more time and then leave." I saw the emails, Brandon. the cancellations, the apartment listings. I know everything. He grabbed my arm. Not hard, but enough to make me stop. You're not thinking clearly. You're emotional. Let's go inside and talk this through like rational people. I pulled my arm away. Don't touch me. Don't come to my apartment. Don't wait for me outside my building. If you do any of this again, I'm filing a restraining order. You don't mean that. Try me. I walked past him into the building. He called after me, but I didn't turn around. In the elevator, my hands shook. Not from fear, but from anger. The audacity of that man showing up at my home, demanding access to my time and space and resources after everything he'd done. In my apartment, I locked the door and leaned against it, breathing deeply. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I can't believe you're being this cruel. After everything we've been through. You've changed. I blocked the number. Then I called Andre. He showed up at my apartment, I said when he answered. Want me to come over? No. I handled it. But I might need your help with something else. Name it. I want to document everything. Every interaction, every message, every time he shows up. I want a paper trail in case I need a restraining order. Smart. I'll help you set up a file. Screenshots, written records, dates and times. We'll make it airtight. We spent an hour on the phone organizing my documentation. The original credit card statement. The folder from his gym bag. Screenshots of text messages before I'd blocked him. Today's encounter outside my building. Everything cataloged and saved in multiple locations. You're doing the right thing, Andre said. Protecting yourself legally is important. I know. I just hate that it's necessary. 10 years and it ends with me preparing for a restraining order. It ends with you protecting yourself from someone who would have kept using you. That's not a bad ending, sis. That's you being strong. After we hung up, I made dinner and tried to relax, but my mind kept circling back to Brandon's words. After everything I gave you. The delusion was almost impressive. He genuinely believed he'd contributed something valuable to our relationship. He'd rewritten our entire history in his head to make himself the victim. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered, ready to tell Brandon off one more time. Simone? It's Tiffany. We need to talk. I almost hung up. Almost. But curiosity got the better of me. Talk about what? About Brandon. About this situation. You're being unfair. I'm being unfair? I'm not the one who helped a man cheat on his partner of 10 years. He told me you two were basically over. That you were just roommates at that point. Did he also tell you I was paying for everything? His car, his insurance, his phone, his housing, his food. Silence. Did he tell you about the wedding we were planning? The venue deposits I'd put down? The dress I'd already bought? More silence. What did he tell you, Tiffany? Let me guess. He told you he was independent, successful, just waiting for the right moment to leave his terrible girlfriend who didn't understand him. Something like that, she admitted quietly. Well, now you know the truth. Brandon doesn't have money. He doesn't have insurance. He doesn't have a job. What he has is a talent for finding women who will support him. If you want to be the next one, that's your choice. But don't call me and tell me I'm being unfair. I didn't know, he said. I don't care what he said. I care about the truth. And the truth is Brandon is a user. He used me for 10 years and he was planning to use me for insurance benefits before moving on to you. Now he doesn't have access to my money anymore, and I'm guessing that's why you're calling. Because he needs help and he's hoping I'll be soft enough to give it to him. He's staying at my place. He doesn't have anywhere else to go. That's not my problem anymore. He's talking about you constantly. About how you're being unreasonable. About how you owe him. I owe him nothing. I gave him 10 years and over $100,000. My debt is paid. Now I'm done. And Tiffany, you should think carefully about what you're getting into. Because whatever he's telling you he'll contribute, he won't. Whatever promises he's making, he won't keep. Ask yourself if you're ready to support a grown man who refuses to support himself. I hung up before she could respond. My hands were shaking again, but this time from satisfaction. Let Tiffany deal with Brandon's reality. Let her pay his bills and fund his dreams and listen to his excuses. She'd wanted him. Now she had him. The rest of the week passed in a blur of work and evening routine adjustments. Coming home to a quiet apartment. Cooking for one. Watching whatever I wanted on TV. Making plans that involved only my schedule. It was strange but not unpleasant. Thursday night, Nicole came over with wine and takeout. You look good, she said, studying my face. Better than you have in years. I feel good. Tired but good. Are you sleeping okay? Better than I expected. I thought I'd miss him, but mostly I missed the idea of him. The person I thought he was. Not the person he actually is. That's healthy. You're grieving the relationship you thought you had, not the person you were actually with. We ate Thai food and talked about everything except Brandon. Work drama, Nicole's dating life, plans for the upcoming holiday season. Normal conversation between friends, the kind I hadn't had much of in the last few years because Brandon had always needed something during my free time. Friday, I met with Patricia and officially accepted the promotion. More responsibility, 15% pay increase, better benefits. I'd start the new position in 3 weeks, giving the current cardiac unit supervisor time to train me. Congratulations, Patricia said, shaking my hand. You've earned this. That night, I celebrated alone in my apartment. Glass of wine, nice dinner, early bedtime. Simple but satisfying. This was my life now. Quiet. Independent. What? Saturday morning, I woke up to banging on my door. Loud, persistent, angry banging. Simone, open up. We need to talk. Open this door right now. Brandon's voice, but different. Desperate. Furious. I grabbed my phone and called building security. There's someone banging on my door and harassing me. Can you send someone up? 3 minutes later, security escorted Brandon out of the building while he shouted about how I'd ruined his life, destroyed his relationship with Tiffany, left him with nothing. I watched from my window as they walked him to the street. He looked rough. Unshaven, wrinkled clothes, wild eyes. This was what happened when the money ran out. When the easy life ended. When he had to face reality. I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no guilt, no sadness. Just nothing. He'd made his choices. Now he was living with the consequences. I spent the rest of the weekend reorganizing my apartment, donating the last items Brandon had left behind, reclaiming my space completely. By Sunday evening, there was no trace of him left. No clothes in the closet. No toiletries in the bathroom. No gaming system by the TV. Nothing. My apartment. My life. My future. And for the first time in 10 years, that future looked bright. The restraining order paperwork sat on my kitchen table, half filled out. I downloaded the forms after Brandon's Saturday morning incident, but I hadn't submitted them yet. Part of me hoped he'd just give up and move on. The other part knew better. Tuesday evening, 2 weeks after I'd kicked him out, I came home from my shift to find Brandon sitting on the floor outside my apartment door. He looked worse than he had on Saturday. Thinner. His clothes hung loose on his frame. Dark circles under his eyes. Simone, please. I just need to talk to you. I pulled out my phone. I'm calling security. Wait, please. 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. Against my better judgment, I paused. You have 3 minutes. Out here. My door stays closed. He stood up, swaying slightly. I messed up. I know I did. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, you're sorry. Now leave. I need help. I lost my place at Tiffany's. She kicked me out when she realized I couldn't pay rent. I've been staying with friends, but they're getting tired of me. I don't have anywhere to go. That's not my problem. I'm not asking to move back in. I just need some money. Enough to get a room somewhere. Enough to get back on my feet. Once I find a job, I'll pay you back. I stared at him. The audacity was almost admirable. You want me to give you money? After you planned to commit marriage fraud against me? I changed my mind about that. I couldn't go through with it. That's why I canceled the venue visits. I realized I couldn't do that to you. You canceled them because you were planning to move in with Tiffany. I saw the apartment listings, Brandon. I know the truth. I was confused. I made mistakes. But I never stopped loving you. 3 minutes are up. Leave now, or I'm calling security and filing the restraining order I've been holding off on. His face changed. The pleading expression dropped, replaced by something harder. You're really going to do this? After 10 years? After everything we built together? We didn't build anything together. I built a life and you lived in it rent-free. I gave you my time. My companionship. That's worth something. Not $100,000, it's not. He stepped closer. I stepped back, my hand on the doorknob. Don't come any closer. You can't just throw away 10 years. I'm not throwing it away. You did that when you planned to use me for benefits and then leave. Now go, or I'm making that call. He stared at me for a long moment, then turned and walked down the hallway. I watched until he got on the elevator, then I went inside and locked my door. My hands shook as I picked up the restraining order paperwork. I filled out the rest of the form, documenting every incident. Saturday's door banging. Tonight's hallway ambush. The harassing texts from unknown numbers. All of it. Wednesday morning, I filed the paperwork at the courthouse before my shift. The clerk was kind and efficient. The judge will review this and decide whether to issue a temporary order. You should hear something within a few days. Thank you. At work, I threw myself into preparation for my new position. The current cardiac supervisor, Glenn, was walking me through the unit's protocols and procedures. I took detailed notes, asked questions, absorbed everything. This promotion was going to change my life, give me financial security I'd never had while supporting Brandon. During lunch, Nicole met me in the cafeteria. How are you doing? Better. I filed for a restraining order this morning. Good. You need protection from him. He showed up at my apartment again last night, begging for money. Of course he did. What did you say? No. Obviously. And he accepted that? Not really. But he left when I threatened to call security. Nicole shook her head. This guy doesn't quit. He will once the restraining order goes through. He'll have to. Thursday afternoon, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Hello? Simone? This is Brandon's mother, Helen. I closed my eyes. I'd been expecting this call. Hello, Helen. I heard about what happened between you and Brandon. I wanted to reach out, see if we could talk about it. There's nothing to talk about. Brandon and I are over. He told me you kicked him out with nowhere to go, that you cut off all his access to money and resources, that you're refusing to help him even though he's desperate. Did he tell you why I did those things? Silence. Did he tell you about Tiffany? About his plan to marry me for insurance benefits and then divorce me? About the 10 years I spent supporting him while he contributed nothing? Brandon said you misunderstood the situation. I have documentation, Helen. Credit card statements, emails, text messages. I didn't misunderstand anything. Brandon used me for 10 years, and when I found out he was planning to use me one more time, I cut him off. He's my son. He made mistakes, but he's a good person. He's a good person to you because I paid your medical bills. I paid for your medications. I gave Brandon money to help you. But that's over now. I'm not responsible for either of you anymore. He has nowhere to go, Simone. He's living on friends' couches. He can't afford food. Is that what you want? For him to suffer? I want him to take responsibility for his own life. He's 37 years old. It's time he learned to support himself. You're being cruel. I'm being smart. For the first time in 10 years, I'm protecting myself instead of protecting him. If that seems cruel to you, I'm sorry, but I'm not changing my mind. He loves you. He made mistakes, but he loves you. No, he doesn't. He loves what I provided. Money, stability, housing, insurance. Now that those things are gone, his love is gone too. That's not real love, Helen. That's convenience. Please just give him one more chance. Help him get back on his feet. Once he's stable, he'll pay you back. I gave him 10 years of chances. I'm done. I'm sorry, but I'm done. I hung up before she could respond. My chest felt tight. I liked Helen. She'd been kind to me, had treated me like family. But she'd raised Brandon to think using people was acceptable. She'd enabled his behavior for 37 years. I couldn't let her guilt me into enabling it anymore. Friday morning, I received notification that my request for a temporary restraining order had been approved. Brandon was not allowed to contact me directly or indirectly, come within 500 feet of my home or workplace, or make any attempts to communicate through third parties. Violation would result in arrest. I felt relief wash over me. Legal protection. Real consequences if he didn't leave me alone. That afternoon, Brandon's best friend Kevin showed up at the hospital. He waited in the lobby until my shift ended, then approached me as I was leaving. Simone, can we talk? No. The restraining order covers contact through third parties. If you're here on Brandon's behalf, you need to leave. I'm here as a friend. Your friend too. We've known each other for years. I stopped walking. What do you want, Kevin? Brandon is in bad shape. Really bad. He's not eating right. He's depressed. He needs help. Then he should see a therapist. He needs you. No, he needs money. And I'm not giving him any. If you're really his friend, you'll tell him to get a job and start supporting himself like an adult. He's trying. But he can't even afford to buy clothes for interviews. He can't afford to eat properly. He's desperate. That's what happens when you spend 10 years refusing to work and depending on someone else to fund your life. You're the one who enabled him. You let him get comfortable. Now you're pulling the rug out and expecting him to land on his feet. I stepped closer to Kevin, anger rising in my chest. I enabled him. I worked double shifts while he sat at home. I paid every bill while he pursued pipe dreams. I built a life while he coasted through on my hard work. And the whole time he was planning to betray me. So don't you dare blame me for his situation. He made mistakes, but... No buts. He made choices. For 10 years he chose not to work. He chose not to contribute. He chose to let me carry the weight of our entire life together. Those were his choices. Now he gets to live with the consequences. He's talking about hurting himself. My blood ran cold. Is he actually in danger, or is he manipulating you the way he manipulated me for a decade? Kevin looked uncomfortable. I don't know. But what if he's serious? If you genuinely believe he's a danger to himself, call 911. Get him professional help. But don't come to me expecting me to rescue him again. I'm not responsible for his mental health. I'm not responsible for his housing. I'm not responsible for his life. He's a grown man. Let him act like one. You used to care about him. I used to believe he cared about me too. I was wrong. Now please leave. If you contact me again on Brandon's behalf, I'll file a police report for violating the restraining order. Kevin left, shaking his head like I was the unreasonable one. I sat in my car for 10 minutes trying to calm down. The manipulation tactics were escalating. First the begging, then the mother. Now the friend warning me about self-harm. What would be next? I called Andre. They're ramping up the pressure. Who? I told him about Helen and Kevin. That's harassment through third parties. That violates the restraining order. I know, but I don't want to get his mother in legal trouble. You might not have a choice. If they keep pushing, you'll need to enforce the order. Otherwise, it's worthless. I know. I hate this. I hate that it came to this. You didn't make it come to this. Brandon did. He's the one who lied and cheated and used you. He's the one who planned to commit fraud. He's the one who's now using emotional manipulation to try to get access to your resources again. None of this is your fault. Then why do I feel guilty? Because you're a good person. But feeling guilty doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It means you care about people. That's not a flaw, even if someone exploited it. We talked for another 30 minutes. By the time we hung up, I felt steadier, clear. I wasn't doing anything wrong. I was protecting myself. That was healthy and necessary. Saturday, I woke up to dozens of missed calls. Brandon's number, which I had blocked, and several unknown numbers. There were voicemails. Against my better judgment, I listened to one. Simone, it's Kevin again. Brandon's in the hospital. He collapsed. You need to come. He's asking for you. My first instinct was panic. Then I remembered what Andre said about manipulation tactics. I called the hospital where I worked and asked if Brandon had been admitted. He hadn't. I called the other 2 hospitals in the area. No Brandon. It was a lie. A manipulation tactic designed to scare me into breaking my boundaries. I blocked all the unknown numbers and spent the rest of the day documenting everything. The calls. The voicemails. Kevin's harassment. All of it photographed and saved. If I needed to escalate the restraining order, I had evidence. Sunday was quiet. Too quiet. I kept waiting for the next manipulation attempt, but nothing came. I tried to relax, to enjoy my day off, but anxiety kept creeping in. What would Brandon try next? Monday morning I found out. I arrived at work to find flowers on my desk. 24 red roses with a card. I'm sorry. Please give me another chance. I love you. B. I called security immediately. Someone delivered flowers to my desk. The sender is the subject of my restraining order. Can you remove them and check the security footage to see who delivered them? Security took the flowers and promised to review the footage. An hour later they called back. The delivery was made by a standard flower service. The order was placed online with cash payment. No way to trace it directly to your ex, but we have it documented. Another violation. Another piece of evidence. I was building an ironclad case for a permanent restraining order. At lunch, I met with Patricia to discuss my transition into the new role. She noticed my distraction. Everything okay? Personal issues. Nothing that will affect my work. If you need support, the hospital has resources. Counseling, legal aid for employees, security services. Thank you. I might take advantage of that. That evening, I got home to find a box outside my apartment door. My name on it, no return address. I called building security before opening it. Inside were photos. Pictures of Brandon and me from over the years. Happy moments I'd forgotten about. Vacations we'd taken, holidays we'd celebrated, ordinary days that had seemed special at the time. At the bottom of the box was a letter. I didn't read it. I photographed everything, documented the delivery, and called the non-emergency police line to report the restraining order violation. The officer who took my report was sympathetic. We'll document this. Keep saving everything. If he contacts you again, call immediately. We take these orders seriously. Thank you. Tuesday morning, I woke up to text messages from friends I hadn't talked to in years. All of them with similar messages. Brandon reached out to me. He says you're being unreasonable. He sounds really upset. Maybe you should talk to him? He was mobilizing everyone he knew, trying to create social pressure, trying to make me the villain in a story where he was the victim. I responded to each message with the same reply: Brandon and I are no longer together. I have a restraining order against him for stalking and harassment. If he contacts you again, please don't pass along messages. Thank you for understanding. Some people responded with support. Others went quiet, probably thinking I was overreacting. I didn't care. I knew the truth. I had the documentation. Their opinions didn't change reality. By Wednesday, the harassment had escalated to a new level. Unknown numbers calling my phone constantly. Messages on social media from fake accounts. Even a letter to my workplace claiming I'd stolen money from Brandon and demanding I pay it back. I forwarded everything to the police. Documented everything. Stayed calm and methodical. This was Brandon's last desperate attempt to regain control. He was using every tactic he could think of, hoping something would work. Nothing would. I was done. Completely, irrevocably done. Thursday afternoon, I met with a lawyer who specialized in restraining orders. She reviewed my documentation and nodded approvingly. You built an excellent case. With this evidence, we can push for a permanent order. The constant contact through third parties, the letters, the flowers, the harassment campaign on social media, it all demonstrates a pattern of stalking and intimidation. How long will the process take? A few weeks. We'll file the paperwork, get a court date, present your evidence. Given how thorough your documentation is, I'm confident the judge will grant the permanent order. Thank you. In the meantime, keep doing what you're doing. Document everything. Don't respond to any contact. Stay safe. I left her office feeling empowered. I had legal protection. I had a plan. I had evidence. Brandon's manipulation tactics were failing. His harassment was being documented. His control over my life was over. That night, I sat in my apartment and thought about the last 3 weeks. The discovery of Brandon's betrayal. The decision to cut him off. The systematic removal of his access to my life. The restraining order. The constant harassment. All of it had been hard, but I'd survived. More than survived. I'd stood firm in my boundaries, protected myself, and refused to be manipulated. For the first time in 10 years, I was proud of myself. Not for what I'd given someone else, but for what I'd done for me. My phone buzzed. Nicole, proud of you. Want to come over this weekend? We're having a game night. I smiled and typed back, I'll be there. Life was moving forward. My life. On my terms. And it felt good. 3 weeks into my new position as cardiac unit supervisor, I finally felt like I could breathe. The harassment from Brandon had slowed to a trickle after the police issued him a formal warning about the restraining order violations. My lawyer was preparing for the permanent order hearing. And for the first time in over a decade, I was focused entirely on myself. The promotion came with a 15% raise, which translated to an extra $1,000 monthly in my pocket. $1,000 that wasn't going toward someone else's car payment or failed business venture. I sat at my kitchen table on a Saturday morning, staring at my budget spreadsheet, marveling at all the green numbers. Rent, utilities, car payment, insurance, groceries, phone bill. The necessities took up less than half my income now. The rest was mine to save, invest, or spend however I wanted. I opened a high-yield savings account and set up automatic transfers. $500 every month, no exceptions. In my first month alone, I'd saved more than I'd managed to save in the entire previous year. My retirement account got a boost too. I increased my contribution percentage and adjusted my investment allocations based on advice from a financial advisor I'd scheduled a consultation with. She'd looked at my accounts and been honest. You're behind where you should be for your age and income, but you have time to catch up. Let's build you a solid plan. That plan included aggressive saving, smart investing, and building an emergency fund that could cover 6 months of expenses. For the first time since I'd met Brandon, I had financial goals that didn't include funding someone else's dreams. Work itself was challenging but satisfying. The cardiac unit was fast-paced, requiring constant decision-making and problem-solving. I thrived on it. My team respected me, my patients were getting excellent care, and Patricia had already complimented my leadership style twice in my first month. "You've really come into your own," she said during our weekly check-in. "Whatever changes you made in your personal life, they're paying off professionally too." "Thank you. I feel more focused than I have in years." "It shows. Keep it up." Nicole had started inviting me to more social events. Game nights with her friends, brunch on Sunday mornings, a book club that met monthly. I'd isolated myself during my relationship with Brandon, too tired and stressed to maintain friendships. Now I was reconnecting with people, building a social life that didn't revolve around someone else's needs. At one of Nicole's game nights, I met Elijah. He was Nicole's co-worker, a respiratory therapist at a different hospital. Tall, broad-shouldered, with an easy smile and kind eyes. He sat next to me during the board game and made me laugh with his terrible strategic decisions. "I'm not good at games," he admitted after losing spectacularly at Settlers of Catan. "But I have fun losing." "That's a good attitude to have." "You're competitive though. I can tell. You played that game like you were planning 3 moves ahead." Nursing supervisor. Strategic thinking is part of the job. Makes sense. He paused, then added, "Nicole mentioned you just got out of a long relationship." "She did. Not in a gossipy way. Just mentioned you were single now and seemed happier than she'd seen you in years." "I hope that's not weird that I'm telling you this." "It's not weird. And it's true. I am happier." "Good. You deserve to be happy." We talked for the rest of the evening. Easy conversation about work, hobbies, favorite foods, travel dreams. He didn't pry about my past relationship. He was an interesting person worth getting to know. When the game night ended, he asked for my number. "I'd like to take you to dinner sometime." "No pressure. Just dinner, conversation, getting to know each other." I hesitated. Part of me wanted to say yes. Part of me was terrified of jumping into something new before I'd fully processed the old. "Can I think about it?" I asked. "Of course. Take your time. The offer stands whenever you're ready." I gave him my number anyway. "I'll let you know." On the drive home, I thought about Elijah. About the possibility of dating someone new. About whether I was ready. I'd spent 10 years with Brandon. 10 years of my life invested in someone who'd never invested back. The idea of opening myself up to that kind of hurt again was terrifying. But Elijah seemed different. He had a good job. He paid for his own drinks at the game night. He drove his own car. Small things that shouldn't matter but did after my experience with Brandon. I decided to wait. Not because I didn't like Elijah, but because I liked myself too much to rush into anything. I needed time to heal, to rebuild, to figure out who I was outside of a relationship. My brother Andre noticed the change in me too. We had lunch the following Saturday and he studied my face across the table. "You look lighter," he said. "I feel lighter. Like I've been carrying a heavy backpack for years and finally put it down." "That's exactly what you did. You've been carrying Brandon's weight for a decade." "I know. I can't believe I didn't see it sooner." "You saw what you wanted to see. A partnership. Someone who would eventually step up and contribute equally. That's not a character flaw, Simone. That's hope. Hope that was misplaced. Maybe. But better to hope and be disappointed than to never hope at all." We talked about my promotion, my savings goals, my plans for the future. Andre was proud of me. I could hear it in his voice, see it in his eyes. His little sister was finally taking care of herself. "Have you heard from Brandon lately?" he asked. "Not directly. The restraining order is working. But I heard through mutual friends that he's struggling. Lost his place at Tiffany's. Bouncing between friends' couches. Can't keep a job." "Good. Andre. I mean it. Good. He deserves to struggle. He needs to learn that actions have consequences. Maybe this will finally teach him to stand on his own. Maybe." "How do you feel about it? Hearing he's struggling?" I thought about the question. Really thought about it. "I feel nothing. No satisfaction, no guilt, no sadness. Just nothing. His life isn't my responsibility anymore." "That's healthy. Is it? Shouldn't I care at least a little? We were together for 10 years. You cared for 10 years while he used you. You've earned the right to feel nothing now. Don't second guess yourself." That conversation stayed with me. I examined my feelings carefully, looking for hidden guilt or sadness or regret. But Andre was right. I felt nothing about Brandon's situation. He'd made his choices. Now he was living with them. The permanent restraining order hearing happened in early November. I sat in the courtroom with my lawyer, presenting months of documentation. The flowers, the letters, the harassment through third parties. the constant phone calls, the social media attacks. All of it laid out in chronological order with evidence and witnesses. Brandon showed up without a lawyer. He tried to speak on his own behalf, claiming I was exaggerating, that he just wanted to talk to me like adults, that I was being vindictive. The judge wasn't impressed. "Mr. Foster, the evidence is overwhelming. You've violated the temporary restraining order multiple times. You've harassed Ms. Reed through third parties. You've sent unwanted gifts and letters. Your behavior constitutes stalking. I'm granting the permanent restraining order. You are not to contact Ms. Reed in any way, directly or indirectly, for a period of 5 years. Any violation will result in immediate arrest. Do you understand?" Brandon's face went pale. 5 years? That's excessive. It's appropriate given your behavior. Court is adjourned. I walked out of that courtroom feeling lighter than air. 5 years of legal protection. 5 years where Brandon couldn't contact me, couldn't show up at my home or workplace, couldn't send messages through friends or family. 5 years of peace. My lawyer shook my hand. "Congratulations. You did everything right. The documentation, the consistency in enforcing boundaries, all of it contributed to this outcome. Thank you for your help. You did the hard part. I just made sure the law worked in your favor." That evening, I celebrated with Nicole and Andre. We went to a nice restaurant, ordered expensive wine, toasted to new beginnings. I felt free. Truly, completely free for the first time in a decade. "What's next for you?" Nicole asked. "I don't know. Keep excelling at work. Keep saving money. Maybe travel. I've always wanted to see the world." "You should. You've earned it." "What about dating?" Andre asked with a grin. Nicole told me about some guy named Elijah. I shot Nicole a look. She shrugged innocently. "I might have mentioned it. I'm not ready yet, but maybe soon. He seems nice." "Nice is good. Nice is what you deserve." Later that night, alone in my apartment, I looked around at my space, my furniture, who never compromised back. No walking on eggshells or managing someone else's moods or funding someone else's lifestyle. Just me. And it was enough. I pulled out my phone and looked at Elijah's last text. He'd been patient, checking in occasionally but never pressuring me. "Hope you're doing well. No rush on that dinner. The offer stands whenever you're ready." I typed a response. "I think I'm ready. How about next Saturday?" His response came quickly. "Saturday works great. I know a good Italian place if that sounds good." Sounds perfect. I wasn't jumping into a relationship. I wasn't looking for someone to complete me or save me or provide for me. I was just open to the possibility of getting to know someone new. Someone who had their life together. Someone who treated me like an equal. The rest of November passed in a blur of work and personal growth. I took a weekend trip to the mountains, something I'd always wanted to do but never had time for when I was managing Brandon's chaos. I hiked, breathed fresh air, took photos of stunning views. I felt alive. I hit my first savings milestone, $5,000 in my emergency fund. Money that was there just for me, just in case. Money that gave me security and peace of mind. I went on that dinner with Elijah. It was easy, comfortable, fun. We talked for hours about everything and nothing. He paid for dinner without making a big deal about it. He walked me to my car. He asked if he could see me again. "I'd like that," I said. "No rush though. I know you're rebuilding. I respect that. Thank you for understanding. I lost 5 years to someone who didn't appreciate me. I get it. Take your time." We went on a second date. Then a third. Nothing serious, just two people getting to know each other. He never pushed for more than I was ready to give. He respected my boundaries. He showed up when he said he would. He paid his own way. Small things that meant everything after Brandon. By December, I felt like a completely different person than I'd been 6 months ago. Stronger. More confident. More secure. I'd built a fortress around myself, not to keep people out, but to protect the peace I'd worked so hard to create. I was thriving. At work. Financially. Socially. Emotionally. And it felt incredible. My apartment became my sanctuary. I decorated for Christmas, something I hadn't done in years because Brandon had always complained it was too much work. I put up a tree, hung lights, played holiday music. I invited friends over for a party. Standing in my living room surrounded by people who genuinely cared about me, I realized how much I'd been missing. Real friendships. Real connections. Real joy that didn't depend on managing someone else's needs. Nicole found me in the kitchen refilling drinks. "You're glowing." "I feel good. Really good." "You should. You've come so far in 6 months." "I have, haven't I?" "Brandon was holding you back. Draining you. Now that he's gone, you're becoming who you were always meant to be. I think you're right. The party went late into the night. People laughing, talking, enjoying themselves. My home filled with warmth and light and happiness. This was what life should be. This was what I'd been missing. When everyone left, I cleaned up slowly, savoring the quiet contentment that filled my chest. 6 months ago, I'd been planning a wedding to a man who was planning to betray me. Now I was planning a future that was entirely mine. I checked my savings account before bed. $7,000 now. Growing every month. A foundation for whatever came next. I thought about Elijah and smiled. He texted earlier, "Had fun at the party. You have great friends. And you're a great hostess." I texted back, "Thank you for coming. Want to do something next weekend?" "Absolutely. Your turn to pick the activity. I'll think of something good." I fell asleep that night feeling grateful. For my job. For my friends. For my brother. For my lawyer who'd helped me get the restraining order. For myself, for finding the strength to walk away from someone who'd been using me. The fortress I'd built wasn't made of walls. It was made of boundaries, self-respect, and the knowledge that I deserved better. And from inside that fortress, I could see clearly for the first time in years. The future was bright, and it was all mine. January brought brutal, cold, and crystal clear news about Brandon's life falling apart. I didn't seek out the information. It found me through mutual acquaintances who thought I'd want to know. I didn't, but I listened anyway, curious despite myself about what happened to a man who depended on others for so long. Tiffany had kicked him out in late November. No surprise there. Whatever promises Brandon had made to her, whatever image he'd sold, it had crumbled once she realized he brought nothing to the table but charm and excuses. She posted about it on social media, vague statements about learning to spot users, and never again ignoring red flags. I'd heard through Nicole that she tried to reach out to me, wanting to compare notes about Brandon's lies, but I had no interest in that conversation. Kevin, Brandon's best friend who'd shown up at the hospital months ago, had finally stopped letting Brandon crash on his couch. Apparently, 2 months of having a jobless roommate who ate all the food, monopolized the TV, and contributed nothing but complaints was enough. Brandon's mother Helen had taken him in for a few weeks, but even that arrangement fell apart. I heard she'd given him an ultimatum: get a job or get out. He'd chosen to get out rather than swallow his pride and work retail or food service like millions of other people. Nicole came over on a Saturday afternoon in mid-January with coffee and gossip. "I ran into Kevin yesterday. He asked about you. What did you tell him?" "That you're doing great." "Which is true." "What did he say about Brandon?" "You want to know?" I thought about it. "Maybe a little." "He's living in his car. The old sedan you paid off for him. Parking in different places every night. Kevin sees him sometimes at the gym using the day pass to shower." I should have felt something. Satisfaction, maybe, or vindication. Instead, I felt the same nothing I'd been feeling for months. Brandon's situation was the natural consequence of his choices. He'd had 10 years to build skills, establish a career, create financial stability. He'd chosen not to. Now he was experiencing what life looked like without someone else footing the bill. "How does Kevin expect me to react to that?" I asked. "I think he's hoping you'll feel guilty enough to help." "Not happening." "I know. I told him as much. He said Brandon talks about you constantly. About how you were supposed to be together forever. How he doesn't understand what happened." "He doesn't understand?" I laughed without humor. "He planned to commit marriage fraud and still doesn't understand why I ended things?" The mental gymnastics are impressive. "What about his job search? Is he actually trying?" "Kevin says he is, but Brandon won't take anything he considers beneath him. No retail, no food service, no entry-level positions. He's holding out for management or business owner roles." "Of course he is. Can't damage that precious ego by starting at the bottom like everyone else." Kevin also mentioned Brandon's been trying to start new business ventures. Asking people to invest. Let me guess. No one's willing to give him money. Correct. Word got around about what happened with you. People know he's not a good investment. I sipped my coffee, processing the information. Brandon's entire world had collapsed because it had been built on a foundation of my money and support. Without that foundation, everything else crumbled. The friends who tolerated him because he was dating someone successful. The business connections he'd made through my network. The lifestyle he'd maintained with my credit card. All gone. "Do you ever feel bad for him?" Nicole asked carefully. "No. Should I?" "I don't think so. But I wouldn't judge you if you did. I gave him a decade. I gave him more chances than anyone deserved. I warned him what would happen if he didn't start contributing. He chose to ignore all of it. His homelessness isn't my fault. It's his. You're right. Besides, he's not actually helpless. He could get a job tomorrow if he wanted. Any job. Fast food, retail, warehouse work, anything. He chooses not to because he thinks he's above it. That's pride, not poverty. Nicole nodded. I just wanted to check in. Make sure you're okay hearing about all this. I'm fine. Better than fine, actually. And I was. My savings account had hit $10,000. I'd received another small raise at work for excellent performance reviews. Elijah and I had been on 8 dates, taking things slow but steady. I'd booked a trip to Jamaica for March, a solo vacation I'd been dreaming about for years. My life was full and getting fuller. Brandon's life was empty and getting emptier. The contrast would have been poetic if it weren't so predictable. February brought Valentine's Day, my first in 11 years not spent with Brandon. Elijah had asked if I wanted to do something special, but I told him I preferred to keep things low-key. We had dinner at a quiet restaurant, nothing fancy. He gave me a single rose, a sweet gesture that didn't come with expectations. No pressure, he said when he handed it to me. Just wanted to acknowledge the day. Thank you. I got you something too. I handed him a small box containing a nice pen I'd noticed him admiring at a store we'd browsed together. You remembered. His smile was genuine. Thank you. You're welcome. Over dinner, he asked about my upcoming Jamaica trip. 2 weeks solo in paradise. That sounds incredible. I'm excited. I've never traveled alone before. You'll love it. There's something freeing about solo travel. No compromises, no coordinating schedules, just doing exactly what you want when you want. That's what I'm looking forward to. 10 years of compromising left me ready for some pure selfishness. That's not selfishness. That's self-care. I appreciated his perspective. Elijah never pushed me to talk about Brandon, but when I did, he listened without judgment. He understood what it was like to waste years on someone who didn't deserve them. His ex had cheated on him repeatedly before he'd finally ended things. A week before my Jamaica trip, I was leaving the hospital after my shift when I saw him. Brandon sitting on a bench near the parking lot. He looked rough. Thinner than I'd ever seen him, his clothes wrinkled and dirty, his hair too long and unkempt. He stood up when he saw me. I pulled out my phone immediately. Don't, he said, raising his hands. I'm not violating the order. I'm on public property, more than 500 feet from the entrance. I needed to see you. I kept my finger hovering over the emergency call button. You need to leave. I'm homeless, Simone. Sleeping in my car. Barely eating. Is this what you wanted? What I wanted was for you to take responsibility for your own life. You're capable of working. You choose not to. I'm trying. No one will hire me. Because you won't apply for the jobs that are actually available. You want management positions when you've never managed anything. You want to run businesses when you've never successfully operated one. Lower your expectations and take whatever work you can get. I can't work fast food. I have a college degree. That I paid for. And plenty of college graduates work retail and food service while building their careers. You're not special, Brandon. You're just stubborn. I made mistakes. I know I did. But I loved you. Doesn't that count for anything? No. Love without respect, without contribution, without partnership, that's not real love. That's just words. So that's it? 10 years together and you feel nothing? I feel free. I feel like I can finally breathe. I feel grateful I discovered the truth before you actually married me and committed fraud. Those are the feelings I have. I need help, Simone. Please, just a little money. Enough to get me back on my feet. No. I'm desperate. Then get a job. Any job. There are help wanted signs all over this city. You could be employed tomorrow if you were willing to start somewhere. You know what you sound like? You sound cold. Art. This isn't who you are. This is exactly who I am. I'm someone who finally learned to protect herself instead of sacrificing herself for someone who gave nothing back. I walked to my car, my heart pounding. He didn't follow. I drove away, checking my rearview mirror to make sure he stayed where he was. He did, standing by that bench watching me leave. At home, I called my lawyer and reported the encounter. She made a note of it in case we needed to enforce the restraining order more strictly. Then I called Andre. You okay? He asked after I told him what happened. Yeah. Shaken but okay. What did he look like? Terrible. But that's not my problem. No, it's not. You handled it right. Didn't engage, didn't give in, just left. He said I'm cold. Hard. You're neither of those things. You're strong. There's a difference. I know, but it's still what? Still made me question myself for a second. Wonder if I should help. That's your kindness talking. The same kindness he exploited for 10 years. Don't listen to it. Listen to your logic instead. What would happen if you gave him money? He'd spend it and come back for more. Exactly. You'd be right back where you started, funding his life while he contributed nothing. You broke that cycle. Don't restart it. You're right. Thank you. Anytime, sis. Now stop thinking about him and start thinking about Jamaica. 3 days until you leave. The trip to Jamaica was everything I needed. Sun, sand, ocean, and solitude. I read books on the beach, tried new foods, went snorkeling, took a cooking class, explored local markets. I talked to other travelers, made temporary friends, spent evenings watching sunsets with a drink in my hand. No one needed anything from me. No one demanded my time or money or energy. I was just Simone, a woman on vacation, living in the moment. On my last night there, I sat on my hotel balcony overlooking the ocean and took stock of my life. 8 months since I'd kicked Brandon out. 8 months of reclaiming myself, building my independence, establishing boundaries, creating the life I wanted. I thought about Brandon sleeping in his car and felt that same nothing I'd been feeling. His situation wasn't my responsibility. I'd given him everything I had to give. What he chose to do with his life now was his concern, not mine. My phone buzzed. A text from Elijah. Hope you're having an amazing time. Can't wait to hear all about it when you get back. I smiled and typed a response. It's been incredible. See you soon. Flying home, I felt refreshed and energized. Ready to dive back into work, continue building my savings, keep exploring whatever was developing with Elijah. Ready to keep living my life without looking back. The fortress I'd built around myself was strong. Brandon's attempt to breach it with guilt and manipulation had failed. I was safe inside, protected not by walls but by self-respect and clear boundaries. And from inside that fortress, I could see clearly that walking away had been the best decision I'd ever made. March in Philadelphia meant unpredictable weather, but I barely noticed. I was too busy living a life I'd never imagined possible 8 months ago. Work was demanding but fulfilling. My savings account had crossed $15,000. Elijah and I had progressed from casual dating to something more intentional, though we were still taking things slowly. I want to show you something, he said one Saturday afternoon as we drove through the city. Where are we going? It's a surprise. A good one, I promise. He pulled up to a community center in a neighborhood I didn't know well. Inside, there was a photography exhibition featuring work by local artists. Elijah led me through the gallery, pointing out pieces he particularly liked, asking my opinions, sharing his interpretations. I love photography, he explained. It's my creative outlet when I'm not at the hospital. You never mentioned that. I wanted to show you instead of tell you. We spent 2 hours there talking about art and perspective and how different people see the same world in completely different ways. It was the kind of date I'd never had with Brandon. Thoughtful. Intentional. Designed at a small cafe nearby. Can I ask you something? Elijah said, his hands wrapped around his mug. Sure. Where do you see this going? We've been seeing each other for almost 4 months now, and I know you've been healing from your last relationship, but I'd like to know what you're thinking. I appreciated the directness. I like spending time with you. A lot. But I'm not ready for anything serious yet. Define serious. Labels. Expectations. The assumption that we're building towards something specific. That's fair. Can I tell you what I'm thinking? Please. I'm not in a rush. I like where we are. I like getting to know you without pressure. But I also want you to know I'm not dating other people, and I'm interested in seeing where this could go when you're ready. I'm not dating anyone else either. Good to know. He smiled. So we're exclusively casual? I guess we are. Works for me. The conversation settled something in my chest. Elijah wasn't pushing me. He wasn't demanding more than I could give. He was just being honest about where he stood and letting me do the same. It was refreshing after years with Brandon, who'd promised commitment while planning betrayal. April brought my 1-year anniversary at my supervisor position and another promotion opportunity. Patricia called me into her office on a Monday morning. The hospital is expanding the cardiac program. We're creating an assistant director position to oversee operations across all cardiac units. I think you'd be perfect for it. My heart jumped. Assistant director? 20% salary increase. More responsibility. You'd be working with administration, managing budgets, overseeing multiple teams. It's a big step up. I'm interested. I thought you might be. The formal interview process starts next week, but I wanted to give you a heads up. You've exceeded expectations this past year, Simone. You've earned this opportunity. Walking out of her office, I felt 10 feet tall. Assistant director. At 35. After spending a decade being held back by someone who contributed nothing to my success. I called Andre during my lunch break. I might get another promotion. What? That's amazing. Tell me everything. I explained the position, the responsibilities, the pay increase. He whooped loud enough that I had to pull the phone away from my ear. This is it, sis. This is you becoming everything you were meant to be. It's just an interview. I haven't gotten it yet. You'll get it. I know you will. That evening, I told Elijah over dinner. His reaction was immediate and genuine. Simone, that's incredible. Assistant director at 35? Do you know how impressive that is? It feels surreal. It shouldn't. You work hard. You're good at what you do. You deserve this. Thank you. When will you know? Interviews are next week. Decision by end of month. You'll crush the interview. I'm not worried. His confidence in me felt different from the empty reassurances Brandon used to give. Elijah's support was based on actually seeing my work ethic, my capabilities, my growth. Brandon's had been based on needing me to succeed so he could keep benefiting from my salary. The interview process was rigorous. 3 rounds. Panel interviews with hospital administration, the cardiology department head, and current directors. I prepared thoroughly, rehearsing answers, researching the hospital's strategic goals, developing a vision for the cardiac program's future. I wore a maroon dress to the final interview, my favorite color, and felt powerful walking into the conference room. The questions were tough but fair. I answered confidently, drawing on my experience, my education, my track record of success. Why do you want this position? The hospital administrator asked. Because I want to make a larger impact. As a unit supervisor, I've improved patient outcomes and team efficiency. As assistant director, I could scale those improvements across all cardiac units. I could shape protocols, mentor supervisors, drive innovation. I'm ready for that challenge. What would you say is your greatest strength? Resilience. I've overcome significant personal challenges this past year, and it's taught me how to adapt, how to stay focused on my goals, how to protect my energy for what matters. Those skills translate directly into leadership. 2 weeks later, Patricia called me into her office with a smile I recognized. Congratulations, Assistant Director Reed. I got the position. 20% raise. New office. New responsibilities. New opportunities to prove myself. I celebrated with my team that afternoon, accepted their congratulations graciously, then went home and cried. Happy tears. Relieved tears. Proud tears. I'd done this, without Brandon dragging me down. Without someone else's chaos derailing my focus. Just me working hard, making smart decisions, building a career I loved. Elijah took me out to celebrate that weekend. Nice restaurant, champagne, heartfelt toast. To the assistant director, he said, raising his glass. May this be just the beginning of all the amazing things you accomplish. We clinked glasses and I felt something shift. Not love, not yet, but the possibility of it. The space where it could grow if I let it. Thank you for being patient with me, I said. I know I've been guarded. You've been healing. There's a difference. I'm starting to feel ready. For more, Yeah. He reached across the table and took my hand. No rush. I'm here whenever you're ready. And even when you're not. May brought my 36th birthday. Nicole threw me a party, inviting friends from work, from the book club, from various corners of my life I'd been rebuilding. Elijah came, meeting more of my people, fitting in seamlessly with his easy humor and genuine interest in everyone he talked to. Andre pulled me aside during the party. You look happy. I am happy. Good. You deserve it. And Elijah seems like a good guy. He is. Not like Brandon. Not at all. Then I approve. The party went late. People laughing, sharing stories, celebrating with me. A year ago, I'd been planning a wedding to someone who'd been planning to betray me. Now I was surrounded by people who actually cared about me, celebrating the life I'd built for myself. After everyone left, Elijah helped me clean up. You don't have to do this, I said as he loaded the dishwasher. I want to. Besides, we make a good team. We did. The ease of working together, the natural rhythm, the balance. It was what partnership was supposed to look like. Can I tell you something? I asked, leaning against the counter. Always. I think I'm falling for you. He stopped loading dishes and turned to face me. Yeah. And it terrifies me. Why? Because the last time I fell for someone, I lost 10 years of my life. I'm not him, Simone. I have my life together. I pay my own bills. I respect your boundaries. I want you to succeed not because it benefits me, but because you deserve to succeed. I know. Logically, I know that. But emotionally, you're scared. I get it. Take your time. I'm not going anywhere. I kissed him then. Acknowledged what was growing between us. Thank you, I whispered when we pulled apart. For what? For being patient. For being kind. For being nothing like him. Those are pretty low bars to clear, he joked. You clear them by miles. June brought my first paycheck as assistant director. The number on the direct deposit notification made me stare at my phone in disbelief. More money than I'd ever made. More than I'd imagined making at this stage of my career. I immediately increased my retirement contributions, added more to my monthly savings transfer, and started researching investment opportunities. The financial advisor I'd been working with helped me develop a long-term wealth-building strategy. You're in an excellent position, she said, reviewing my accounts. You've built strong savings, you have no debt, and your income is solid. If you keep this up, you could retire comfortably in your 50s if you wanted to. Really? Really? You're doing everything right. Hearing that felt like validation. 10 years of supporting Brandon had set me back financially, but I was catching up. Building the future I'd sacrificed for someone who'd never appreciated the sacrifice. I bought my first piece of real estate in July. A small condo in a good neighborhood, something I could rent out for income or eventually live in. The closing felt momentous. My name on the deed. My property. My investment. Elijah was there when I got the keys, champagne in hand. To homeownership, he toasted. To building wealth. To the smartest woman I know. We christened the empty condo with takeout pizza and plans for what I'd do with the space. Rent it furnished to traveling nurses. Airbnb it. Use it as a weekend retreat. The possibilities felt endless. You're really doing it, Elijah said, looking around the empty living room. Building the life you want. I am. It feels good. It looks good on you. By August, I'd been promoted, bought property, built my savings to $25,000, and developed a healthy relationship with someone who respected me. The contrast to where I'd been a year ago was staggering. And Brandon? I heard through the grapevine that he was still struggling. Still bouncing between couches. Still refusing to take work he considered beneath him. Still blaming me for his situation. I felt nothing. Not satisfaction. Not guilt. Just nothing. His life was his responsibility. Mine was mine. And I was finally fully living it. September brought crisp air and falling leaves, and with it, Brandon's most desperate move yet. I was leaving my condo, the one I'd been renovating on weekends with Elijah's help, when I saw the figure sitting on the front steps. Thin to the point of gaunt, wearing clothes that hung loose and dirty, hair matted and unkempt. Brandon. My first instinct was to call the police. This was a clear violation of the restraining order. But something in his posture, the defeated slump of his shoulders, made me pause. You can't be here, I said, keeping my distance. You know you can't be here. I know. I'm sorry. His voice cracked. I didn't know where else to go. That's not my problem. You need to leave before I call the police. I'm homeless, Simone. Actually homeless. I've been sleeping in my car for months, but it finally died. I can't even afford to fix it. I have nothing. No money, no job, nowhere to stay. Then go to a shelter. Apply for assistance. Figure it out like everyone else in your situation has to. I did. I've been at shelters. You don't know what it's like. The things I've seen. The people. It's dangerous. So get a job and get out of that situation. I can't get a job without an address. No one will hire me when I list a shelter. That's not true. Plenty of people find work while homeless. You just won't take the jobs that are actually available. He stood up slowly, wobbling slightly. I haven't eaten in 2 days. I'm sick. I think I have pneumonia or something. I can barely breathe. I just need help. Please. I'm begging you. I looked at him closely. He did look sick. Pale, sweating despite the cool weather, trembling. But I'd learned not to trust his performances. Go to the emergency room. They can't turn you away. I don't have insurance. That's not my problem anymore. You had insurance when you were with me. You chose to throw that away when you planned to commit fraud. I was stupid. I know I was. I've paid for it. Every single day for the last year, I've paid for what I did. How much more punishment do I deserve? This isn't punishment. This is consequences. Actions have results, Brandon. You spent 10 years refusing to build a life for yourself. This is what that looks like. So you're just going to let me die on the street? After 10 years together? That's who you are now. I'm someone who finally learned that I can't save people who refuse to save themselves. You have options, Brandon. Shelters, food banks, free clinics, social services. You just won't use them because you still think you're too good for the help that's actually available. I came here to ask for money. One last time. Enough to get a room for a week. Enough to eat. Enough to shower and get cleaned up for job interviews. That's all. I'll pay you back. I swear I will. No. Please, Simone. I'm desperate. You're always desperate. It's your permanent state. Because you won't do the work required to not be desperate. I've been trying. I've applied to jobs. Hundreds of them. What kind of jobs? He hesitated. Management positions. Business opportunities. Things that match my education and experience. You have no management experience. You've never successfully run a business. You're applying for positions you're not qualified for while ignoring the ones you could actually get. I can't work fast food. I'm 37 years old with a college degree. And I'm 36 with a master's degree, and I'd work fast food if that's what it took to survive. Pride doesn't pay rent, Brandon. It doesn't put food in your stomach. You're choosing pride over survival, and that's a choice. Don't act like you have no options. You've changed. You used to be kind, compassionate. Now you're just cruel. I'm protecting myself. That's not cruelty. That's self-preservation. Fine. I get it. You hate me. But can you at least tell me why? What did I do that was so terrible? I made mistakes, but I loved you. Doesn't that count for anything? I stared at him, genuinely shocked. You don't actually know what you did wrong, do you? I know I hurt you. I know the thing with Tiffany was wrong. But what? You think that's the only problem? You used me for 10 years, Brandon. You let me pay for everything while you contributed nothing. You took my money, my time, my energy, my youth, and you gave back empty promises. Then, when I thought we were finally building toward a real future, I found out you were planning to commit marriage fraud. You were going to marry me for insurance benefits and then leave. That's not a mistake. That's betrayal. That's using someone in the coldest, most calculated way possible. I changed my mind about that. I told you. Only because you got caught. You didn't have some moral awakening. You got exposed and scrambled to cover it up. That's different. So that's it? No forgiveness? No second chance? I gave you 100 second chances over 10 years. Every time you lost a job, I gave you another chance. Every time a business failed, I gave you another chance. Every time you promised things would be different, I believed you and gave you another chance. I'm out of chances to give. What about Christian charity? Forgiveness? Human decency? What about personal responsibility? Self-sufficiency? Basic respect for someone who sacrificed for you? You want to talk about decency? Where was your decency when you were spending my money on another woman? Where was your charity when I was working double shifts to support both of us? Where was your forgiveness when I asked you to contribute even the bare minimum? He started coughing, a deep, rattling sound that made him double over. When he straightened up, his face was even paler. I need help. Medical help. Please, just take me to the hospital. Call 911. They'll send an ambulance. I can't afford an ambulance bill. Then walk. It's 4 blocks to the emergency room. Simone, please. I'm really sick. I pulled out my phone and dialed. Not 911. My lawyer. What are you doing? Brandon asked. Calling my lawyer. You're violating the restraining order. Being sick doesn't exempt you from legal consequences. Wait, don't. I'll leave. I'm leaving right now. Too late. You came to my property. You made contact. You asked for money. All violations. Please don't do this. I can't afford more legal trouble. My lawyer answered. I explained the situation while Brandon pleaded with me to hang up. She advised me to call the police and document everything. You're really going to have me arrested? Brandon asked as I dialed 911. You did this to yourself. I have a legal order protecting me from you. You violated it. Actions have consequences. The police arrived within 10 minutes. I showed them the restraining order, explained the violation, and watched as they talked to Brandon. He tried to play the victim, claiming he was sick and desperate and just asking for help from someone he used to be close to. The officers weren't buying it. They'd seen this pattern before. Abusive ex ignoring court orders under the guise of desperation. You need to come with us, sir, one of them said. I didn't do anything wrong. I just talked to her. You violated a court order. That's a crime. They arrested him. Handcuffs and everything. As they led him to the patrol car, he looked back at me with such hatred that I felt it like a physical thing. I hope you're happy, he said. I hope seeing me arrested makes you feel powerful. It doesn't make me feel anything except safe, I replied, which is what the restraining order was designed to do. They drove away with him. I called Elijah immediately. You okay? He asked. Yeah, shaken but okay. Want me to come over? Please. He arrived 20 minutes later with food and reassurance. We sat in my condo while I recounted the whole encounter. You did the right thing, he said firmly. He violated the order. He needed to face consequences. I know, but seeing him like that, he looked terrible. That's not your fault. Part of me wonders if I should have just given him money for a room, just to get him off the street. And then what? He'd be back in a week asking for more. You know that pattern. You lived it for 10 years. You're right. Besides, arresting him might actually help him. He'll get medical attention in custody. They'll evaluate him, treat him if he's actually sick. And maybe a night in jail will motivate him to finally accept the help that's available instead of holding out for handouts from you. I nodded, but doubt still nagged at me. Had I been too harsh? Should I have shown more compassion? Nicole came over later that evening. She had a different perspective. Stop second-guessing yourself. That man manipulated you for 10 years. Now he's trying to manipulate you with pity. Don't fall for it. He looked really sick, Nicole. Then he should go to a hospital. He should apply for Medicaid. He should use the social services that exist for people in his situation. What he shouldn't do is violate a court order to try to guilt-trip his ex into funding him again. I know you're right. I just feel. Feel what? Guilty. Like I should have been more compassionate. Compassion doesn't mean sacrificing yourself. You can feel bad for his situation without being responsible for fixing it. Those are two different things. 3 days later, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Simone? This is Brandon's public defender. Okay. I'm calling about the restraining order violation. Brandon has asked me to reach out to see if you'd be willing to drop the charges. No. Can I ask why not? Because he violated a court order. Because this isn't the first time he's tried to contact me. Because he needs to understand that there are real consequences for his actions. He's claiming he was desperate and sick. That he just wanted to ask for help from someone he trusted. He doesn't trust me. He wants to use me. There's a difference. And I have a legal order specifically designed to prevent him from contacting me. He knew what he was doing was illegal. He chose to do it anyway. If you drop the charges, he'll be released and mandated to check in with a social worker who can connect him to resources. If I drop the charges, he'll interpret that as me being soft. He'll try again. The answer is no. I understand. I had to ask. After I hung up, I sat with the decision. Was I being too hard? Maybe. But I was also protecting myself. Brandon had proven over and over that he wouldn't respect boundaries unless they came with real consequences. This was the consequence. Not me being cruel, but the justice system enforcing a court order he chose to violate. A week later, Brandon was released from jail. I heard through mutual acquaintances that he'd been connected with social services, given a list of resources for housing and employment assistance, and mandated to check in with a caseworker. Whether he'd actually use those resources or continue to hold out for someone to rescue him, I didn't know. And I didn't care. His choices were his own. His life was his responsibility. Mine was mine. And I was living it fully, without guilt, without looking back, without letting his chaos pull me down again. The fortress I'd built remained strong. And I remained safe inside it, protected by boundaries he could no longer cross. November marked 1 year since I'd filed the permanent restraining order. 1 year of peace. 1 year of growth. 1 year of becoming the person I was always meant to be without Brandon's weight dragging me down. My condo renovation was complete. I'd rented it to a traveling nurse for a monthly income that covered the mortgage plus $200 profit. My savings account had reached $35,000. My retirement account was robust and growing. At work, I was excelling in my role as assistant director, implementing new protocols that improved patient outcomes and staff satisfaction. And Elijah had become something real. Not just someone I was dating, but a partner. Someone who showed up, who contributed, who celebrated my wins and supported me through challenges. We'd moved in together in October, splitting rent and expenses equally, maintaining our independence while building something together. Look at everything you've accomplished in a year. We've accomplished, I corrected. You've been part of this journey. I've been a witness to it. You did the work. You supported me. That matters. He kissed the top of my head. We make a good team. We did. The difference between this relationship and my decade with Brandon was stark. Elijah paid his half of everything without being asked. He took initiative around the house. He had his own career, his own goals, his own life that he invited me to be part of rather than expecting me to fund and manage. Thanksgiving came. I hosted dinner for Andre, Nicole, and a few close friends. Elijah's parents drove in from Baltimore, and I met them for the first time. His mother hugged me warmly and whispered, "Thank you for making my son so happy." He makes me happy too. The dinner table was full of laughter and good food and genuine connection. Looking around at the people gathered there, I felt a swell of gratitude. This was what I'd been missing during my years with Brandon. Real relationships with people who cared about me, not what I could provide for them. After everyone left, Elijah and I cleaned up together in comfortable silence. "Your friends really love you," he said. "I'm lucky to have them. They said you're different now than you were a few years ago. Lighter. More present." I am. Brandon was draining me, and I didn't even fully realize it until he was gone. Their loss is my gain. Pretty sure we're both winning in this situation. December brought my annual performance review. Patricia and the hospital administrator both praised my work as assistant director. "You've exceeded expectations in every category," Patricia said. "Patient satisfaction is up. Staff retention is up. Efficiency metrics are up. You've brought innovation and leadership to the cardiac program." "Thank you. I love this work. We're creating a director position for the entire cardiovascular department. I'm recommending you for it. 25% salary increase, full benefits package, leadership training opportunities." Interested. My heart soared. "Absolutely. The board will make the final decision in January. But between you and me, it's yours if you want it." Director. At 36, I'd gone from supporting Brandon's failed businesses to directing an entire hospital department in less than 2 years. The trajectory was dizzying. I called Andre from my car. "I'm getting another promotion." "What? Simone, are you serious?" "Director of Cardiovascular Services. 25% raise." Patricia basically said it's mine. "This is incredible. We need to celebrate. Proper celebration. Fancy dinner, the whole thing." That weekend, Andre, Nicole, Elijah, and I went to the nicest restaurant in the city. We ordered expensive wine and multiple courses and toasted to success. "To Simone," Andre said, raising his glass, "who proves every single day that the best revenge is living well." "To living well," everyone echoed. Later, walking through the city with Elijah, I felt like I was floating. Everything I'd worked for, everything I'd sacrificed, was finally paying off. Not just financially, but emotionally, professionally, personally. "Can I ask you something?" Elijah said as we walked hand in hand. "Always. Do you ever think about Brandon? About what he's doing now?" "Sometimes. Usually when someone mentions seeing him or hearing about him. But it doesn't affect me the way it used to." "What do you mean?" "At first I felt nothing. Then I felt angry when he kept trying to contact me. Then I felt guilty when he showed up looking sick and desperate. Now I just feel distant. Like he's someone I used to know, not someone who was part of my life for 10 years. That's healthy. It took a while to get here. But yeah, I think it is." "Do you know what he's doing now?" "Last I heard, he was working at a call center. Entry-level position. Living in a room he rents from someone. Still complaining about his situation, still blaming me for it, but at least he's employed and housed. Good for him. Seriously. It's about time he took responsibility." Agreed. January brought the official offer for the director position. I accepted without hesitation. The salary increase pushed my annual income into 6 figures for the first time in my life. 6 figures. Me. The girl who'd spent 10 years supporting a man who refused to support himself. I updated my budget immediately. More aggressive retirement savings. Starting an investment portfolio beyond just retirement accounts. Setting aside money for a house down payment. Building wealth intentionally and strategically. "You're doing it," Nicole said when I showed her my financial plan. "You're building the life Brandon convinced you wasn't possible." He never said it wasn't possible. He just acted like his dreams were more important than mine. Same result. He held you back. Not anymore. February brought Valentine's Day. Elijah planned a surprise. He picked me up from work and drove to a bed and breakfast in the mountains, the same area I'd visited alone after kicking Brandon out. "I remembered you mentioned loving this area," he said as we checked in. Thought we could explore it together. The weekend was perfect. Hiking, good food, sitting by a fireplace talking about everything and nothing. On our last morning there, over breakfast, he handed me a small box. "It's not what you think," he said quickly. "Just open it." Inside was a key. "What's this?" "I bought a house. Small one, starter home, but it's mine. And I want you to have a key. Not because I'm assuming we'll live there, but because I want you to know you're always welcome. That I see a future with you in it." I felt tears prick my eyes. "Elijah, no pressure. We can keep our separate places or we can figure something else out. I just wanted you to know where I stand. I'm committed to this. To us. Whenever you're ready for whatever comes next." "I'm ready," I said. "I've been ready for a while, actually. I was just scared to say it." "Scared of what?" "Of jinxing it. Of losing something good. Of repeating my mistakes with Brandon. I'm not him. You know that, right?" "I do. I really do." We spent the drive home talking about logistics. His house or mine? Rent both and split time? Move in together? We decided to take it slow, spend more time at his new place, see how it felt before making any permanent decisions. By March, I was spending most nights at Elijah's house. It felt natural, easy, right? We fell into routines without forcing them. Cooking together, maintaining the space together, building a life together. My condo remained rented, providing passive income. My savings continued to grow. My career continued to ascend. Everything I had hoped for during those dark days after discovering Brandon's betrayal was coming true. One Saturday afternoon in late March, I was at the grocery store when I saw her. Tiffany. She looked different than the last time I'd seen her. Tired. Older. She recognized me immediately. "Simone." "Tiffany." Awkward silence. "I owe you an apology," she said finally. "For my part in what happened with Brandon. I didn't know the whole story." "Okay. I was stupid. I believed his lies. And I paid for it too. He used me the same way he used you. Worse actually, because I knew what he'd done to you and still thought I was different. You're not apologizing to make yourself feel better, are you? Maybe a little. But mostly because you deserve better than what we both did to you. I appreciate that. Thank you. You look good. Happy. I am happy. Good. You deserve it." She walked away and I continued shopping. The encounter didn't affect me the way I'd expected. I felt no anger toward Tiffany, no satisfaction in her admission of being used. Just relief that chapter of my life was closed. April brought my 37th birthday. Elijah threw me a surprise party at his house. Friends from work, Nicole, Andre, people from my book club, even his parents. The house was full of people celebrating me, not what I could do for them, just me. Speech. Someone called out. I shook my head, but Elijah handed me a glass and everyone quieted down. "I'm not good at speeches," I started, "but I want to thank you all for being here. 2 years ago, my life looked very different. I was in a relationship that was draining me, working hard but not building anything for myself, feeling stuck. Then I made the hardest decision I've ever made. I chose myself, and everything changed." People nodded, some who knew the full story, others who'd only heard pieces. I'm not telling you this to be dramatic. I'm telling you because I want you to know that it's never too late to choose yourself. It's never too late to walk away from situations that don't serve you. It's never too late to build the life you actually want. Thank you for being part of my new life. Thank you for celebrating with me. And thank you for showing me what real friendship and support look like. The room erupted in cheers and applause. Elijah kissed me. Andre hugged me. Nicole whispered, "I'm so proud of you." Later that night, after everyone left, Elijah and I sat on his back porch looking at the stars. "You're amazing," he said. "You know that, right? I'm just living my life. You're thriving. There's a difference." "I guess I am." "Any regrets? About Brandon, I mean?" "Only that I didn't leave sooner. But even that's not really a regret. I left when I was ready. That timing was right for me. And now I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be." He took my hand. Me too. The year continued its upward trajectory. Promotion after promotion. Savings milestone after milestone. Relationship depth after relationship depth. Everything Brandon had stolen from me with his manipulation and lies, I was reclaiming and multiplying. The sweet success wasn't just about money or career. It was about peace. About waking up without dread. About building something real with someone who actually contributed. About choosing myself every single day and watching my life transform as a result. Brandon had taught me what I didn't want. Elijah was showing me what I deserved. The contrast made me grateful for both lessons. The cafe was crowded on the Saturday morning in late September, nearly 2 years after I'd kicked Brandon out. I was meeting Nicole for brunch, running a few minutes late because Elijah and I had been looking at houses. Real houses. The kind you buy together, plan a future, and maybe raise a family. I pushed through the door, scanning for Nicole's familiar face, and stopped dead. Brandon sat at a corner table, alone, hunched over a cup of coffee, wearing a faded green jacket that looked like it had seen better days. His hair was shorter now, neatly trimmed. His face had filled out a bit from the gaunt look he'd had when he'd violated the restraining order. He looked better than he had then, but worn down in a way that had nothing to do with physical appearance. He hadn't seen me yet. I could leave, find Nicole at a different spot, avoid this encounter entirely. The restraining order had expired 6 months ago, so there was no legal protection keeping him away from me. Just mutual understanding that we were done. But I didn't leave. I realized, standing there watching him stare into his coffee cup, that I felt nothing. No anger. No pity. No curiosity about his life. Just complete indifference. Nicole appeared at my elbow. Is that? Yeah. Want to go somewhere else? No. This is fine. He's just another person in a cafe. We walked to a table on the opposite side of the room. I had my back to Brandon, which was intentional. Nicole kept glancing over my shoulder. He looks different, she murmured. Doesn't matter. Tell me about your new project at work. We ordered food, talked about her job, my job, weekend plans, normal things friends discuss over brunch. I'd almost forgotten Brandon was there when I felt a presence beside our table. I looked up. Brandon stood there, coffee cup in hand, expression carefully neutral. Simone. Nicole. Brandon, I said evenly. I don't want to interrupt. I just wanted to say hello. Okay. Hello. He shifted his weight, clearly wanting to say more. I waited, not helping him, not offering an opening. You look good, he finally said. Happy. I am happy. That's good. That's good. Silence stretched. Nicole watched with obvious suspicion, ready to intervene if needed. I'm working now, Brandon said as if I'd asked. Call center supervisor. Not what I dreamed of doing, but it pays the bills. I have my own apartment. Small, but it's mine. That's good for you. Yeah, it took a while to get here. A lot of help from social services, therapy, actually doing the work I should have been doing all along. Congratulations on figuring it out. He flinched at my tone. Not cruel, just disinterested. I owe you an apology. A real one. What I did, using you for all those years, planning to commit fraud, that was wrong. I was wrong. I've been working on understanding why I did it, taking responsibility, all of that. And I'm sorry. Truly sorry. Okay. Yes. Okay. I accept your apology. That's it. What else do you want me to say, Brandon? You apologized. I accepted it. We can both move on now. I just thought, I don't know. I thought you'd want to know that I finally get it. That I understand what I did to you. I'm glad you understand. But I don't need your understanding to move forward. I've already moved forward. 2 years ago. He looked like I'd slapped him. Right. Of course. I wanted you to know that I'm different now. That I learned from my mistakes. Good. I hope that serves you well in your future. Is there any chance? Could we maybe get coffee sometime? Just to talk? I'd like to hear about your life, what you've been doing. No, Brandon. We're not getting coffee. We're not catching up. We're not being friends. You were a part of my past. A part I've processed and moved beyond. I wish you well, but I don't want you in my life in any capacity. Because you hate me. No, because I feel nothing about you at all. You're someone I used to know. That's all. Nicole made a small sound that might have been a laugh she was trying to suppress. Brandon stood there for another moment, clearly processing the finality of my words. I understand. I'm sorry for interrupting your brunch. He walked away, back to his corner table, where he gathered his things and left the cafe entirely. Brutal, Nicole said once he was gone. Was it? You basically told him he's irrelevant. He is irrelevant. To my life, to my happiness, to my future. He's just some guy I dated a long time ago. 10 years is a long time, though. It was a long time. Past tense. But I've been rebuilding for 2 years now, and everything I've built has nothing to do with him. He's not a factor. Our food arrived. We ate and talked about other things. I didn't think about Brandon again until later that evening. I was at Elijah's house. Our house now, really, since I'd officially moved in 3 months ago and we'd listed his starter home for sale. We were in the kitchen making dinner together when he asked about my day. Ran into Brandon at brunch. Elijah's knife paused mid-chop. How was that? Fine. He apologized. I accepted. He asked to get coffee. I declined. That was it. How did it feel? Seeing him? Nothing. I felt nothing. Really? Really? He's just someone who used to be in my life. Not important anymore. That's growth. It's freedom, I corrected. Complete freedom from caring what he thinks or does or becomes. I'm proud of you. Thank you. Now, are you going to finish chopping those vegetables or are we having soup for dinner? He laughed and went back to cooking. We wanted with Brandon but never had. After dinner, we sat on the couch looking at house listings. We'd been searching for our forever home, something with enough space for the future we were planning. Kids maybe. Definitely a home office for each of us. A yard for the dog Elijah wanted. This one, I said, pointing to a listing for a 4-bedroom colonial. Good school district, updated kitchen, finished basement. Want to schedule a viewing? Yes. We'd both come into this relationship with our lives together. Elijah had his house, his savings, his career. I had my condo, my investments, my director position. We were building something new while maintaining our independence. Neither of us needed the other. We chose each other. That difference mattered. October brought the house purchase. We made an offer on the colonial and it was accepted. The mortgage application asked about my income and I filled it in with pride. Director's salary plus rental income plus investment returns. I was a high earner, a strong candidate, an asset. The loan officer approved us quickly. You both have excellent credit and strong financial profiles. This should be a smooth process. At closing, I signed my name on document after document. Legal ownership of real estate. A home I'd purchased with someone who contributed equally. My signature next to Elijah's, both of us building this together. Congratulations, the realtor said, handing us keys. We drove to the house, our house, and walked through the empty rooms making plans. Home office here, Elijah said, pointing to a sunny room overlooking the backyard. Guest room here for when Andre visits. Nursery? He pointed to a smaller room. Eventually. He kissed me. Eventually sounds perfect. We spent the rest of the day measuring rooms, planning furniture placement, dreaming about the life we build here. 2 years ago, I'd been planning a wedding to a man who'd been planning to use me. Now I was planning a future with a man who wanted to build alongside me. November brought Thanksgiving. We hosted at our new house. Andre, Nicole, Elijah's parents, friends from work, all gathered around our dining table. I looked around at the people who'd supported me through the hardest time of my life and felt overwhelming gratitude. I want to make a toast, I said, standing with my wine glass. 2 years ago, I was in a very different place. Scared, hurt, angry, unsure if I'd ever trust anyone again. But I had people who supported me, who reminded me of my worth, who celebrated my growth. Thank you for being those people. I looked at Andre. Thank you for coming over that first night and helping me pack up Brandon's stuff. For changing my locks. For always believing I deserved better. Then at Nicole. Thank you for the tough love and the gentle support and for introducing me to Elijah. Then at Elijah. And thank you for being patient. For being partnership. For being everything I didn't know I was allowed to want. Everyone raised their glasses. To new beginnings. To choosing yourself. To freedom. We drank. We ate. We laughed. This was family. Chosen family. People who loved me for who I was, not what I could provide. December brought unexpected news. I was at work when Patricia called me into her office. The board approved a new position. Chief Nursing Officer for the Cardiovascular Division. System-wide role. You'd oversee all cardiac programs across our network of hospitals. Significant salary increase, comprehensive benefits, leadership development opportunities. Interested. Very interested. I thought so. The interview process starts in January. You're my top recommendation. Chief Nursing Officer. 3 years after kicking Brandon out, I was being considered for a C-suite position. The trajectory was almost unbelievable. I called Andre on my way home. Remember when Brandon said I'd never amount to anything without him? I remember you never said that, but he definitely implied it. I'm being considered for CNO of Cardiovascular Services. System-wide. Andre screamed. Literally screamed into the phone. Simone. That's incredible. I know. This is everything. This is the universe proving that leaving him was the best decision you ever made. The universe and 2 years of hard work. Both can be true. That evening, Elijah cooked a celebratory dinner. Reed, he said, testing how it sounded. I like it. I haven't gotten it yet. You will. You're the most qualified person I know. Biased. Accurate. The year ended with me and Elijah hosting a New Year's Eve party at our house. Friends and family counting down to midnight, celebrating not just a new year but new chapters in all our lives. As the countdown started, Elijah pulled me aside to the quiet hallway. I have something for you, he said. We said no gifts. This isn't a gift. It's a question. He pulled out a small box. My heart stopped. I know we've talked about taking things slow, and we can still do that. But I also know what I want, and what I want is a life with you. Officially. Legally. Forever. He opened the box. A simple diamond ring, elegant and perfect. Simone Reed, will you marry me? I started crying. Happy tears. Overwhelmed tears. Yes, of course yes. He slid the ring on my finger. We kissed as midnight struck and cheers erupted from the living room. 10, 9, 8. We walked back to the party hand in hand. Nicole saw the ring first and screamed. Then Andre. Then everyone was crowding around us, congratulating us, celebrating with us. I can't believe you're engaged, Nicole said, hugging me tight. Me neither. 2 years ago I was ending a 10-year relationship. Now I'm starting a new chapter. That's how it works. Sometimes you have to end something wrong to begin something right. The party continued late into the night. People laughing, dancing, celebrating. I stood in the kitchen watching it all, my ring catching the light, my heart full. Elijah found me there. Happy. Completely. No regrets. Only that I didn't meet you sooner. But then again, I probably wasn't ready for you sooner. I needed to learn all those lessons with Brandon first. So he served a purpose after all. Yeah. He taught me exactly what I didn't want. Made it crystal clear what I do deserve. In a weird way, I should thank him. Let's not go that far. I laughed. Fair. January brought the CNO interview process. Multiple rounds. Panel interviews. Presentations. Strategy sessions. I prepared thoroughly and performed excellently. February brought the job offer. Chief Nursing Officer. 40% salary increase. Comprehensive benefits. National leadership role. Everything I'd worked for. I accepted immediately. March brought wedding planning. Small ceremony, just close friends and family. Nothing extravagant. Just real and meaningful in us. April brought the wedding itself. I wore a bright blue dress instead of traditional white. Elijah wore a maroon suit. We exchanged vows we'd written ourselves in a garden surrounded by people we loved. I promised to choose us every day, I said. To contribute equally. To build together. To support your dreams while pursuing my own. To be a partner in the truest sense of the word. I promise to respect your independence, Elijah said. To celebrate your success. To be worthy of your trust. We kissed as husband and wife. Started our forever right there in that garden with those people witnessing our commitment. The reception was joyful. Dancing and laughter and terrible speeches from Andre that made everyone cry laugh. Nicole caught the bouquet and declared she was retiring from dating. As the evening wound down, I stood on the edge of the dance floor watching my husband talk to his parents, my brother dancing with Nicole, our friends celebrating our happiness. This was what I'd been missing all those years with Brandon. This feeling of being truly seen, truly valued, truly partnered with. A year ago, I'd run into Brandon at that cafe. He'd apologized, asked for coffee, tried to insert himself back into my narrative. I told him I felt nothing, and it was true. Now, standing at my own wedding, married to a man who loved me as an equal, I realized I felt something about that decade with Brandon after all. Gratitude. Not for him, but for the lessons. For learning my worth. For discovering my strength. For understanding that sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is walk away. Brandon had taken 10 years of my life. But I'd taken those years back. Transformed them from wasted time into lessons learned. Used them as fuel to build something better, stronger, real. The DJ played our first dance song. Elijah held out his hand and I took it, stepping into this new life, this new chapter, this new version of myself that had been forged in the fire of choosing myself. I was free. Fully, completely, permanently free. Not just from Brandon, but from the person I'd been when I was with him. The person who sacrificed without receiving. The person who believed love meant suffering. The person who didn't know her own worth. That person was gone. In her place stood someone stronger. Someone who knew what she deserved. Someone who built her own empire and invited the right people to help maintain it. As we swayed to the music, Elijah whispered, What are you thinking about? How far I've come. How good this feels. How grateful I am for every choice that led me here. Even the hard ones? Especially the hard ones. He held me closer. We kept dancing. The night stretched on, full of promise and joy and the absolute certainty that I'd made the right choices. I'd cut Brandon off completely. Severed every financial tie. Enforced every boundary. Chose myself relentlessly. And in doing so, I discovered who I was meant to be. Director. Homeowner. Wife. Success story. Survivor. Thriver. The girl who'd spent 10 years funding someone else's dreams had become the woman who built her own empire. The fortress I'd constructed wasn't made of walls, but of self-respect, boundaries, and the absolute knowledge that I was enough. More than enough. Standing in my husband's arms, wearing my ring, living in our house, working my dream job, I had everything I'd ever wanted.